Welcome back to some professional Starcraft 2 12 pooling in the North American ESL Open Cup Finals. It is the Canadian Queen of Blades fighting for Team Newbie, training in Korea, Scarlett. And this is how we're gonna start. And in the bottom right, the biggest of boys for the Clown Clan, with sometimes the Clown Clans, the former world champion. It is Parting. Now, this is the ESL Open Cup. Anyone across the world can participate. The region only indicates where it is played, assuming the players decide to play on that server. So, if you want to participate, before we get too far into it, sign up every Sunday with money on the line and ESL points to help qualify towards the ESL Pro Tour. With that, I mean, if I could have asked for a more clickbait match, I don't know if I could have got one. I know everyone, Scarlett, of course, massive fan favorite, always emotional, because it's not like Cyril. I've been told this by many people in the past. By many people, I mean like half a dozen. But people who don't follow StarCraft as closely, Cyril just wins too much. He's just too good. Scarlett types good luck right when the probe comes out. Scarlett, on the other hand, doesn't win all the time, and that's what makes it dramatic. Oh my god. Scarlett opening up with the oldest cheese in the book, the chat cheese on top of the Zerglings, parting with a late scout thinking Scarlett's a macro player. So I don't need to scout early. Like, what is she gonna do? 12 pool? Nope. I mean, yep, either way. Parting with no response because he's busy microing his probes, doing a pretty good job thus far, only losing 3. Oh my god, what a start though. And that was not an accidental timing on that GL right there. There's a small chance she actually expected it to affect Parting's micro, but it definitely affects his mind games. Oh my god. And at the last second, the hero Zergling breaks through and takes down the pylon. The pylon, probably the most important part of this to get so far. Like, a handful of probes is good, but the pylon delays warp gate, it delays additional adepts. So now here we are. Now, if I know Parting, I don't know if he was streaming during this. He has a tendency to do so. I don't think Scarlett usually streams during the tournaments, but I'm sure he had some strong... Sugar puppy! Yep. I could feel it. As someone who's been on a team and played against Parting and has watched his stream, that can't go unanswered. Sugar puppy bear. As you know. The obvious response here. Scarlett with ooh as a follow-up. Scarlett, of course, been in Korea for so long, so that might translate slightly differently than we're seeing it. But Parting's fans, for those who don't know, are obviously sugar bears. Why? Don't ask why, ask how. Those are the important questions. Anyways, a couple of devs trying to shade in, but Scarlett already has a pretty comfortable economy. I guess based on this state of the game. And I was about to say a lair, but no lair. Just 2 gases finishing. Oh, Zergling speed. Okay, that's where the gas is gonna go. Meanwhile, oh yeah, by the way, guys, I'm trying out damaged health bars. I'm gonna try it for a few days, a few casts. See if because when I'm playing, I really like all health bars on. Which is damaged, I think, gives you all the information while still looking a little cinematic. Without cluttering up the screen too much. I don't mind clutter, if you've ever seen my stream overlays. But I try my best. Meanwhile, Parting's kind of in the dark. Like, Adept Glaives is an obvious choice. This is different than the GSL. Just to be clear, GSL is, you see that Ultralisk right there that's been hit like 15 times? Yeah, we're intentionally not going to click on it. Whereas damaged is whenever anything takes any damage or doesn't have full energy. It's slightly different. The selected health bars sometimes trigger me, and I've talked about that before. We're never going to do it. With that all said, can we talk about back to the game? Scarlett now has 51 drones. The 12 pool did, I think, more than enough. Well, that's unfortunate. The Zerglings spot the shades. The Roach Horn isn't done. So, I was so focused on the health bars, I wasn't thinking about what the bars were on top of. It's a whole bunch of glaive adepts, and there's only Zerglings and Queens to defend. There are 4 Queens, a few groups of Zerglings, up to 25 now, but those glaive adepts will shred them so easily. Roaches are so important against this, but the Roach Horn just wasn't done. On the ramp now. More Zerglings being sliced and diced. No roaches in production either. Well, the roaches are going to take quite a while to come out. By the time roaches come out, this will all be over, one way or another. The amount of damage will depend on how and when Scarlett pulls the drones, as well as whether Parting decides to focus on them. Parting shading down. A handful of roaches on the way. I'm surprised Parting didn't throw out a GL as he first shaded in. I think that would have been an appropriate response. I think Parting wasn't very confident the Adepts would do damage. But at the end of the day, the Adepts get 7 kills. They killed a whole bunch of 46 Zerglings. And Adepts, they lose value over time. Right. Once those roaches are out, or even an overwhelming Zergling number, then the Adepts, they have an expiration date, essentially. And that expiration date passes right as Roach Speed comes out, for the most part. But Parting able to pump out an Immortal. Blink is on the way behind as well, looking to directly counter the roaches. Well, Scarlett got a little greedy. We've heard this story before. Scarlett might have built a few too many drones, didn't quite have the units, and now got cut down to size economically. And while we're going back, I'm gonna go back to that first point. I guess I didn't even really consider this, but how it factors in. You tell me, my more casual StarCraft watchers, like, people are a little turned off watching Cyril, because unless he's up against Raynor, people just assume he's going to win, which makes things a little boring. And his style is so clean and mechanically sound, it can get a little repetitive. Whereas with Scarlett, you don't know if you're getting the, like, Olympic champion 4-1 SOS redefining the meta Scarlett, or the I want 85 drones and no units as you attack me with 100 army supply Scarlett. Like, you don't know. And what you don't know is exciting. So that's why people, at least that I've talked to, find Scarlett so exciting. Besides being a Canadian player, and for a long while, besides Polt, North Americans were really hurting for someone to cheer for. But don't worry, Polt's back, everyone. We can calm down. Linkstalker's moving forward. Parting, opting. Now, this is another stylistic choice. Both these players have strong styles, I guess. They really like to have their fingerprint on the game. Parting is big on micro and force fields and managing these early gateway units, as opposed to sitting back and building like Storm or Archons. We'll see Parting like, no, I'm gonna micro Blink Stalkers and Sentries like it's 2013. Will it be enough? Disruptors could help out a lot here. Colossi aren't a terrible choice, but without Archons, the force fields are gonna have to be perfect, and the Blinks are gonna have to be well managed. Because the Roach Ravager Baneling, most Roach Ravager Ling Bane, if you miss a couple force fields or you blink a little too early or a little too late, the army's just gone. This is a very brittle glass cannon army that Parting's putting together. He is building Colossi behind, which gives some stability, but Scarlett already has 4 bases. Parting going for his 4th. Make that 5 bases. I'm sorry, I went to American public school. I can't count that well. 36 Banelings on the way. They do have speed, which means they have the extra 5 HP as well, giving them a little more chance to survive those Colossi swipes. A greater Spire is on the way, and the Spire has yet to be revealed. This is an odd... I don't think I've seen much Colossi versus Ravager with that many Blink Stalkers. Like, the Blink Stalkers can counter Broodlords, but can, not necessarily will. This surround is looking pretty disgusting out of Scarlett here, coming in from every angle. Parting puts up the force field walls. They won't last forever. Another round. Holding his ground. A couple banelings are trickling through. Parting forced to blink back. The Warp Prism will unphase, and the banelings are exhausted. A couple more Colossi come up. I'd call that a victory for Parting. He did lose most of his sentries, though. So now the next wave is going to come rolling in, and he has nothing to really block it. Just going to use the Blink Stalkers, trying to eat up links over the banelings. And suddenly the Colossi still intact. Corrosive Bowels all over the place. But Scarlet reinforces. Another wave. It's more than enough. The Corruptors knock the Colossi down. The Ravagers and Lings overwhelm the ground. And the Banelings force such splitting that Parting cannot bring his forces to bear. And there's the weakness of that unit composition. Once you lose those important spellcasters and once you use your blinks, well, you're kind of at the whims of the Zerg now. You don't have too many options besides hoping you can win the fight. Scarlet overwhelms. But no but. Scarlet's way ahead. Greater Spire's done. Colossi still being built. The Blink Stalker count was cut down and Parting had to rebuild. This build does not come with a built-in Stargate like most do because of that early game 12 pull and the transition in the Twilight Council. There is no redeeming quality here for Parting besides the fact he has a strong 4-base economy. But he still has to catch up in tech. He's got +2 attack, which is good, not great. The Templar Archives is done, but Archons aren't going to solve the problem. Scarlet can do the same thing again, but with Broodlords. Now, the Colossi help out a little bit against the Broodlords. You ever had to dodge your own Ravager's Corrosive Bile? Just shake down crews. Can never be too careful. Probably was trying to kill the creature. The Broodlings start to rain down and Parting forced back. A big round of Stalkers coming out. The Banelings can crash into any Stalkers that blink forward, but blinking back risks the base itself. One Corruptor goes down. What are you going to do with this? The Broodlings continue to chip and chop. That's not enough Broodlords to end the fight on their own, but the Banelings make all the difference. Once you blink in, you can't blink out. Probes on the run. The 4th Nexus under attack. Zerglings will chase down the probes. Scarlet Parting might be able to blink some of those Stalkers. Oh, the Banelings ran pretty far here, but now they're rolling in. Does Parting have what it takes to survive this? A couple Colossi going down. Most of the Stalkers survive. The Colossi holding. Oh, the Corrosive Biles get the Warp Prism as well as a Colossus. And what looked like a tenuous hold from Parting with that wave of Corrosive Biles definitively tilts in favor of the Canadian Zerg. The Blink's on top. Yes, you might kill the Broods, but everything else will kill you. There is no counterattack. There's no damage being done to Scarlet's economy back home. She can do it again. And then again. And however many times it takes. Parting has less economy. He has worse units than he had before. All he has is this one moment. Brenda, what are you doing out here? And we have plenty of fighting units. Oh, transfuse. Yeah, Blink Stalkers simply take too many shots to kill Zerglings. That's about it. The Zerglings run forward. Parting actually blinks after him. Creep Tumor gets chopped up. Oh. Ah! Well, what is Parting? What is he going to blink his way out of this? Blink twice, tap your shoes together, and you're not in, well, New Kansas anymore? Well, can you warp to another map? Running out of options here is Parting. Scarlet has dozens of Lings and Banes, and adding even more. A lot of front-loaded damage there, making the Blink Stalkers a lot less useful. Trying to catch, well, any units he can between a rock and a hard place is Parting, but creep is surrounding everything. Good luck with this. There are 2 Archons. Parting is in full retreat. He's gonna try to make one last stand, it looks like. I'm not liking his odds. The big boy is not big enough for this one. The creep is stretching to the 3rd. Scarlett's still sitting on 80 drones, building more broods. And now this is the calm, well, I think this is the mind game. This is the typing GL when your probe scouts the Zergling, Scarlett. Like, oh, I don't need to win. You come to me. There are 58 Banelings and counting. They're about to have +3. There's enough Colossi that the Banelings can't get too close until the Broodlings provide cover. '71 Banelings, 85 Banelings. There are no more Ravagers for the force field, is the only thing here. The Banelings are coming. Parting cannot get out. They are coming. Blinks to the side. The nowhere is safe. Scarlett takes game 1 in pretty dominating fashion off the 12 pull. And the GL timing. What a play. Parting, Scarlett utilizing every tactic from mind games to in-games. Even canceling the first drone. I don't know if it was on a whim, the 12 pull, but the first drone was built and then it was canceled. So that either implies that Scarlett forgot she was doing a 12 pull or decided, you know what? F it, we'll do it live. No 12 pull this time. We're on World of Sleepers. Game 2. It's a best of 5. First to 3. I can count. Parting is cannon rushing. Right? Parting's like, that's enough of this silly macro play. Not walling off on the low ground implies cannon rushing. And that probe is going in a very unconventional pathing. Dun, dun, Forge! There it is. Well, well, well. Oh, he's gonna do it from the low ground. I'm sure Scarlett has dealt with this before, but it really does come down to, do you scout quick enough? It's very easy to scout. All you have to do is... This is very risky for Parting, because if this is scouted early enough, he could be committing well before Scarlett can, well, Scarlett's already countered it, and he's still building buildings down there. But Scarlett did not send the second Overlord, nor did she poke out with a drone. So it appears she doesn't realize this is a possibility. At least forgot to scout for the threat. And uh-oh. I wonder what that probe is doing. Like, she knows, right? She has to know. Alright, and away we go. So that means stealing the gas not only provides vision, but it also denies the opportunity to go for, like, quick lair or quick Ravager, especially. Without that extra gas, you can't build enough Ravagers to stop this. Now, oh my god, the Queen! Brenda! Ah! Oh! Gets the probe. Gets the probe. The Queen found a sweet spot where the probe could be hit and the cannons don't protect it. High ground vision could be denied here soon enough. That is a robotics facility, because Parting's doing, like, the macro one-base tech cheese. There's still a probe, and where there's a probe, there's always a problem. It's a lot of Zerglings. They do have speed done. Are they going to attempt to bust this? How many of these are shield batteries? One of them is a shield battery. Alright, one shield battery already done. How many Banelings? I don't think that's nearly enough Banelings. Scarlett didn't realize the extent of this cannon rush. Do you go forward or do you go back? Like, with that many batteries, I don't... Like, you can't get to the pylons. Oh, here come the Banes, trying to draw fire with the Zerglings. Doing a good job thus far. Targeting the shield batteries, which are the most vulnerable. Gets the probe. Another shield battery helping a wall. I don't know. That didn't quite cut it. There's an observer now for high ground vision. Can't actually hit the robo itself, right? So without a probe there, this is a little awkward, because eventually there can be enough Zerglings to break this. Or Prism is the choice, because this Immortal is stranded here otherwise. So this is, So the... Wait, did a probe get out? How did a probe get out? What? Was there another probe? I think Scarlett saw it, but, like... I don't even like, was there another probe on the map? How does that happen? Maybe there was a probe on the high ground? I'm gonna have to go back to that. Hopefully this game is short enough that I remember. Yeah, there's, I guess, maybe... Oh, you can't really... There's a small... I don't... Anyway, so there's an Immortal on the high ground. Will there be a second Immortal? That's the question. The second Immortal makes all the difference! It pops out into the Prism! I don't even know if Scarlett realizes it popped out. But two Immortals are so much better than one. Captain Protoss is back. Two Immortals and a Warp Prism. Name a more iconic combo. As Captain Protoss is on the chase. Dun da 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 da. Parting is Captain Protoss coming to Twitch TV near you. That probe's coming up. So all that work. Awake the juggles! Oh my god! And rebuilding the whole base via the Prism. Oh! Parting! You disgusting Protoss! Absolutely! This is inappropriate for all ages. In fact, it's inappropriate for Terrans far and wide, and Zergs. And I shouldn't be showing this to people. This is not something people need to know about. Well, mostly because they'll try it, but wait, the Banes! The Banes actually can bust all of this, because of the shield blade. Well, technically, the Prism could repower the probe. There's another probe, and there's another problem. Oh, no. Scarlett was relying on getting rid of this and then just containing on one base and having a better economy. Well, guess what? She thought... I thought, Scarlett thought, maybe even Parting thought that Scarlett had successfully gotten rid of this. But little did anyone know, it had only started. The spawning pool's under attack. That means no more Zerglings, Queens. That's it. That's it. Parting gets... Okay, how did he get the probe out? Show me how he got the probe out. Right, there's one probe here. The probe in the main is dead. What? Jimmy, slow it down. team! What the? I mean, but it has to be such a particular angle and like, bring it back, bring it back. Rewind the footage. How big is Parting's gamer chair? It's because you can't trap yourself when you're... Wait, do you have to do anything else? I want to see if, like, there's anything that's, like, shift queued up. We're going to the Parting cam. We should be able to see his actions here. Is this just something he thinks of on the fly? He's like, oh, I gotta get a probe out, so I'm just gonna teleport through this building. Have you tried using blink probes?
Our pylon base is under attack.
Well, Parting, showing the world. I'm excited for many, many people to try that and fail. I'm sure there are some little details. I'm sure it's super hard to replicate. But, so we're all tied up. 1-1. Yeah, it is like a Florencio move, but it won the game. That probe, the blink probe, won the game. With authority, I can say that. Otherwise, that attack is done. It's cleaned up. Jimmy! No, not that's for the last game. Thank you. Welcome back to the ESL Open Cup Finals. Game 3. This is week 3. Parting versus Scarlett. All tied up 1-1. Parting, a disgusting Protoss cheeser. And we love him for it. Here's another fun fact. If you've ever watched Parting stream, he has the same microphone I do. Which is impressive, the range that the microphone has. It has what I like to pretend is the smooth, subtle, sultry voice that I bring to the table by my announcer pack. Don't worry about that. And then you have Microsoft webcams in 2001. Can you hear me? No, face the... So, if you haven't checked out Parting stream, then, you've been warned. Meanwhile, a Cyber Core first. I think that's, well, because Parting scouted... You need to yell. Yes, I wasn't yelling. Imagine if I was, though. Scarlett put her pool down early. This is a pool first. Parting realized that. I was too busy emulating him to realize what he was scouting. Because he saw there wasn't a hatch up yet. It's a pretty obvious giveaway. There is a spawning pool, very likely. Zergling speed on the way. Scarlett gonna try to bust through. Parting, will he be able to put up a wall in time? And does he need to? Because that is 4 Zerglings. Speed isn't going to be done particularly quick. He got a scout. Should realize there aren't a huge amount of Zerglings coming across. And because of the choice to go Cyber Core before Nexus, his Adept would be good to go. Chilling on the high ground. No chance of getting through. At least with these Zerglings. Unless Scarlett has some sort of Zergling teleport hack on the level of the Blink probe. Which I cannot rule out. She's actually found out how to use the wings that they grow when speed finishes for longer jumps. Then I don't see any way this is going to be broken. And Scarlett has no indication that that's what she wants to do. Looks like going for a third hatchery. Going to build on location, of course. There's a Twilight. If I go an entire PvZ without seeing a Stargate, like a Stargate opener, I'm going to be a very happy man. Because at some point, I've joked before, but most jokes are based on reality. That I could just blindfold myself as soon as they put down a Stargate, or even before, and cast from there for the next 2 to 3 minutes with pretty solid accuracy. So, what I'm trying to say is, thank you, Parting, for your variety. Well, this is kind of baited out by Scarlett going with multiple pool firsts, but I think that, in turn, was baited out by Parting doing a cannon rush. So, cheese or be cheesed. The rules of StarCraft, especially all the people who comment on my guides and say, well, in the Silver League, I just get cheese, so these guides are useless. And to that, I say, learn how to use your keyboard. It's not about me. It's about the ESL Open weekly finals, all right? Back to the game. Glaive's on the way. The Roach Warren, in comparison to game number 1, a little quicker. So Scarlett will have the opportunity to build roaches, assuming she scouts this in a timely manner, and it doesn't seem to be some sort of big all-in. There's going to be maybe half a dozen adepts. Also, it's getting a little suspicious, like, there hasn't been a Phoenix or an Oracle out here. 2 gases have been taken. Parting is really trying to hide this. And he will. He actually successfully slipped these adepts out. The Zerglings are going back to the watchtower. No, Scarlett! Well, she's already building 5 roaches, so that's not so bad. I don't know if the Glaive Adepts happens, but 8 roaches on the way, which is exactly what she needs. Parting gonna shade right in, but roaches have already arrived. Now, a couple roaches aren't gonna be the end of the world. Queen being targeted first. Adepts looking to get damage. It's all about what happens after this, because the roaches means there will be an after. A few drones going down, deciding to cancel the shades in order to get damage done in the main. 6 drones so far, racking up even more. The drones coming back a little bit early. Do you get your time zones mixed up or something, Scarlett? What? I see so many players do that. It's like, what? Well, I'm cleaning them up. Let's just send these back. Loses 7 more drones. Oh, how could that have happened? Yeah, he's still got Glaive Adepts in your base. Like, I don't... Just wait like 7 seconds. Well, now Scarlett has to recover from that, and Parting has had plenty of time to realize what's happening. We got some shield batteries on the way. It's gonna be Immortals, a whole lot of sentries. Scarlett is pumping drones. I think she has correctly realized that doing some sort of roach all-in will be less than effective after it's been shown for this long. The roaches themselves have forced out these extra batteries and defenses. But Parting should be happy with this. Scouting through the whole base, seeing no additional tech, seeing no, like, spire, not an overwhelming drone count. I don't know if the hallucinations will survive long enough to spot for a 4th. Parting is in a comfortable position now with Blink done, getting +1. A changeling is one of the most obvious changelings I've ever seen. Parting, you haven't made a single zealot this game. Take off. Day 3. They still do not understand I am one of them. Yes, my life for the ire. Ire, yes, ire. Ire gonna get you all killed. What was that? Nothing! So that's not the best roach micro I've ever seen. That's a lot of dead roaches for a handful of force fields there. Scarlett now gonna struggle. I don't think... Oh. No, guys. Oh, no! He went back. He zoned out and went back to his old house. And Scarlett realized, or Parting realized, rather. You ever done that? Some corrosive biles. Oh, the Immortal, though. The Immortal goes down. The Prism wasn't here to save it. The Immortal's kind of the key point in all this. The linchpin of the attack. Another wave coming through the corrosive biles. Stalkers on both sides, but Scarlet gonna hold. That Immortal was very important. A disjointed attack, like Parting refuses. Oh, there goes the. Oh, I thought the Stalkers just blinked out of existence. Parting refuses to go with your tried and true strategies, instead doing his best to out-micro himself. So now Scarlet, despite the initial losses, is going to be in a very comfortable position. Like, if you're Scarlet and you crush that attack, you got the Prism, you got an Immortal. You got all the sentries. That was 600-ish gas that could have been used on almost anything else. Usually you want 1 or 2, not too much more. But Scarlet crushes the attack, and Parting's like, but wait, what if I tried with no Warp Prism and less units? How about now, though? Classic Parting. All right. Looks like it's not going to work out, because, obviously. But wait, 2 more stars. Let's go, boys. Come on. Come on. Wind it back. Let's try it again. And so now there's even less Stalkers. Now Scarlet's going for the full flank, with more than enough on both sides of the flank. Of course, you want to, as long as you can get the Stalkers out, it's probably worth it to just keep the pressure on and keep the scouting, but like, trading a Stalker for a Roach is just not a valuable long-term investment. Parting, though, yeah, really not a big fan of losing his 4th. He's got 5 cannons. We're going... Oh, man, the harpoons! Vipers on the way. Blinding Cloud plus Abduct against Colossi and against... They interrupt Disruptors as well. I don't know how much Scarlet knows. Does she have any more heroic changelings? Yeah. You killed my brother. Okay, he looked much like me, but you killed him. Who are you talking to? They don't give us eyes. Parting still going in with 7 Blink Stalkers, 8 Blink Stalkers, and trying his best. I'm kind of interested to see. Scarlet had a pretty huge advantage. But, well, still does. +3 on the way, 80 drones, but she hasn't really committed to any attack on Parting, which is fine, but I don't see. There's the lurker upgrades. Like, some of the Hive tech is coming through. Viper's obviously very important, but Parting was kind of greedy, setting up his 4th, and that means now we are, well, we're looking at a strong Parting army. I think it's going to come down to... It really does come down to the Vipers. With this many Stalkers and Disruptors and all that, without lurker upgrades, Vipers! Man the harpoons! 1 Disruptor yanked. Down goes a Viper. Get another one. Oh, hallucinated Colossus! But gets a good one. Another Viper. Get over here. Oh, wait. Trying to unload. Reloads. A little bit of juggling on both sides. Go up, go down. You can't explain that. Parting saves the Colossus. So the Viper's not doing as well. I love the hallucination attempt. Like, no, take that guy. But the attack coming in again. And suddenly, well, the lurker spines are done. Seismic spines. Do they have adaptive talents? They do. Oh, double lurker upgrades. Let me at them. Oh, those are... Wait, are those charge lots? Nope. Get over. Well... That Colossus getting an all-expenses-paid tour of that part of the map. And just going to back off after he's done taking a look. So no charge. Charge is now on the way. That's just a bunch of zealots. I think Parting may have forgotten about that part. Oh, Scarlet! Overconsumption is a real problem in the Zerg brood. You guys, I told you to stop, okay? I told you to go find another extractor. Are you ever going to listen? Meanwhile, a bunch of non-charged zealots are going to die. There's a random amount of roaches over here being chased down. Well, mostly looking for a counterattack. There's an Overseer spotting the transition. Wait, is that the very first Templar Archives? Wow. Changeling's just chilling here. Charge is done now. And can 5 Lurkers, 6 Lurkers, and 5 Vipers hold this army? I wouldn't risk it. Whoa, whoa! Vipers! You paid so much for those! Down go a couple Vipers. So Scarlett having trouble managing. Like, Parting is so aggressive, it makes it seem like his army is way better than it is. Because Lurker, Viper, Hydra, like, Scarlett has all the tools. There's only 2 Colossi. Just go up and few Blinding Cloud, boom, boom, boom. Easy peasy. You see, this is why I'm top 10 GM. Right? Yeah. Parting is being so forward. Well, the best defense is a good offense, because if Scarlett is able to go on the attack, well, bad things are going to happen for Parting. Because then you're up against your Nexus, and where are you going to retreat to? Meanwhile, this is happening. Shots fired! Oh, big connection. Meanwhile, the army's coming back. The Lurker's going to go forward. There's a bunch of Roach Ravager, but those cannons are paying off now. This entire army is going to be shredded here. A whole bunch of charge lots on the left side. I don't think the Spine Crawlers are enough. What are the upgrades? Got +3 attack and then +3, +1. Ranged attack and then melee attack respectively for Scarlett. The Lurkers, yeah, the Spine Crawlers don't do that much, is the thing. And Zealots they're beefy. They're beefy boys. Never again. And I feel like Scarlett has given up a lot of initiative here. Getting Broodlords, but against someone who's been building mass Blinkstalker, I don't think it's so much Scarlett giving up the advantage, but just giving up the opportunity to to maybe bring home a win. Because at this point, Parting is building a mothership, there's carriers on the way, there's a Tactigoop on the forge. I'll contaminate to pause production is the technical term, as they say. 1 Lurker. Did you know Lurkers have 5 legs? Yeah. Pretty weird. Anyways, it's going to burrow in with all 5 legs onto the newest base, put some damage on the Zealots, but then be revealed and killed. Meanwhile, a whole bunch of Stalkers. Spine Crawlers providing the backbone of the defense. Gotta be careful with all these units. Down goes a Viper, Parting so good on those Blinkstalkers. Meanwhile, 1 Colossus and 2 Oracles. The 3 Musketeers are on the attack. Which is... Yep. Okay. Interesting choice there. Down they go. I feel like the Oracles maybe weren't supposed to be involved in that whole idea. They just were tagging along for the ride, and, well, didn't go great. Mothership is complete. And there's a whole bunch of Broodlords, but not enough that they can... Well, the Stalkers are still a danger. Down goes the Hatch, by the way. This game is getting so confusing. Because Stalkers they've been valuable this whole time, even though it feels like they shouldn't be. They're just so maneuverable. The Zerg army is lumbering back and forth. They're just... In the skies, the amount of inertia that a Broodlord has, let's be honest here. I don't mean to brood shame, but they're not the most agile creatures, okay? Like, I'll be the one to say it. Carriers have arrived. Are there any air upgrades? Flux Veins is complete. Are there any Void Rays? No, but you never know when you're gonna need Flux Veins. Speaking of mobile Protoss units. And Infestors. Wait, are we gonna see Microbial Shroud? Is this a Microbial Shroud game? No, don't get ahead of yourself. It's Neural Parasite. Neural Parasite's an obvious choice. You steal the mothership. Maybe do the old-fashioned... Wait, you can't abduct... Wait, can you neural a mothership? You can still abduct it. You can't neural it. Or is it the other way around? It's one of the two. Alright? I'm gonna say you can't knurl it. I'm pretty sure that's the one. Meanwhile, recall. Well, you know how you save the base if they can't see it? It's like lurkers. Just shoot your spines that way. I don't see anything. No, no. It's right just that direction. I don't see nothing. I'm not getting paid enough for... It's right. We saw it 2 seconds ago. I don't... Nope. Bring over the Overseer or don't talk to me. Mothership great for spot defense. I don't know what happened up here. Maybe there was a lurker or something, or he just decided it's time to warp in. But this game has, well, we are now in the late game. I didn't think we would get here. I don't know if either the players did. Neither of them seemed particularly excited to go for these late game army compositions, but now that we're here, all right, the abduction and another one. The spore field. No. All right. The tug of war is finally won. I believe this is a bunch of zealots dying. Some teamwork in kidnapping that mothership. What is that? That was a oh, abducted. Okay. Did that disruptor blink? Then Parting just blinked all of his units now? Zealots going to work. Both sides trading corners because they know if they establish all 4 corner bases, they achieve bingo, which is 1G to 2Gs, which is a victory. As it's written in the ESL rules, by the way. Archon carrier. So this is not a incredibly fun army. Wait, Jimmy, what? Can you pull up the forecast for me? All right, it looks like we have a good chance of storm coming up in the next few minutes. So make sure to bring your umbrellas or at least spread your units to minimize splash damage. Yes, wait, is Storm is researched, okay. So neither side going to get the corner bases. Scarlett with a better gas bank here. This is such an expensive army out of Parting. Scarlett's army is technically more expensive, but it's definitely more spread out as well. Is that... It's a burrowed Zergling. Mothership coming back. Can we do the abduct handoffs here where you kidnap, where you abduct, and then you neural parasite? So really the Stockholm Syndrome build where you abduct a carrier, and the carrier is pretty unhappy about it. And then an infestor says, calm down, carrier. Calm down. It's so great to be in the Zerg hive. They neural parasite it. And that's technically a war crime. But we don't actually care about that here in StarCraft because we are not civilized people. We're Zerg. Moving on. Parting cleared up finally the greatest enemy, which is a burrowed Zergling, and is able to expand and pull back his entire army to do that. Meanwhile, a whole bunch of carriers are in the center of the map, and I honestly don't know where we go from here. I think it really depends. Does Scarlett just lose her entire army to storm and feedback, or do all the spell... Who's more of a wizard? Revelation hits 1 Viper.
My sub streak is broken.
Well, that's depressing. And also, why did that come up out of nowhere? Jimmy! You're fired! After the match, you're fired. Oh, feedback across the board! But a fungal in the Broodlords. So, feedbacks all over the infestors. What is the eventual, like, how many infestors died? Because four infestors and 6 High Templar have died. So, they both cost the same amount of gas. And also the Templar can become the best unit in the game. Archons. Brenda, what are you doing? Oh, that's very sad. She went off the reservation. Now... The carrier's being microed on the hatch. Down the hatch goes. A counterattack on the left. Recall should be up. There's full energy on this Nexus. Here we go again. And there it goes. Void Ray's on the way. So what are we doing here? We're 23 minutes into a game I thought would be done by 12. Both these players with a unique take on this stage of the game. And, Templar. Yeah. You like our water balloons? They're +3 water balloons. These water balloons, like, they don't explode when they hit you. They hurt a lot, okay? They make you feel very unhappy. And then they hit the ground and explode, so you can't throw them back. Therefore, you get no joy and maximum pain. +3 water balloons. Invest in High Templar today for only 150 gas. Trust us, we know what we're talking about. What is this up here? Oh, those are cannons. Oh, you mean like that other game? Yes, but there's so many of them. What do we do? Just stand there stoically. That's what all the zealots do on the posters. Will they hear us talking? No, they don't have ears, because they don't talk. That doesn't make sense, Billy. Shh. I think something happened. I think carriers died. How would you know that? I don't. Meanwhile, 3 carriers died to abduct. I don't know if they were all there, but that also happened. And then Parting decided he didn't want to have any part of that. He said, it's time for Parting with this fight. And sailed off into the sunset. I think he's freeing up supply by getting rid of Archons here. Which, you know you're doing pretty well if you free up... He doesn't have a huge bank... Hey, boys. How you doing? Meanwhile, Scarlett on the other side. Is there a recall ready? Recall is off cooldown. It always seems to be. Counterattack. Well, the Archons are not going to have nearly as much success as the Hydraling. And remember, carriers are a rich man's unit. Each interceptor costing 15 minerals. We've gone back and forth. Interceptor investment futures have changed drastically. Or if you remember in the beginning of Legacy of the Void, interceptors only cost 5 minerals. And you could just release them in a certain area and they'd swarm around for ultimate A-move potential. And then we went up to 25 minerals because there was a big shortage of interceptors and the price went up. Then we went down to 10. But all the big brain experts over at Blizzard and throughout the Battle.net forums determined 15 minerals. That's perfect right there. We finally achieved perfect balance in the game. Right, everybody? Leave your comments about how perfectly balanced this game is at all levels, for sure. Meanwhile, spine crawlers are getting killed by Archons. There were like 12 spines here. There are no longer 12 spines. This is like... Unfortunately, there's a wall of spore crawlers that the Archons are kind of too thick to... Archons are really good. I don't know if I've stressed... Archons, very, very good units. But so are +3 cracklings. They have their adrenal glands. They have +3, +2. Yeah, Zealots are no match. Archons even struggle. What are the up? 3-3-3. Wait, 3-1-3 for the upgrades. +3 attack, +1 armor, +3 shields. So Parting's broke. Scarlett has 2.2k, 5k. What? No. I'll give it another shot. He does have a lot of mineral income, so it's... Yo, what are those carriers doing? He's got 96 interceptors. We're getting, at some point, after such high-tech warfare, eventually we get back down to things like Zerglings and Zealots being some of the most effective units. because nobody has the resources with which to fight anymore. They don't have the gas. We're not there yet. In this case, Scarlett definitely has the gas. Parting is we're almost at 30 minutes, and it's felt like Scarlett has been winning this entire time for at least 25 of those 30 minutes. But she is one bad fight. Like you can't actually replace. If the army gets wiped, you can't replace it. If the fight goes so incredibly badly that, I don't know, however many, the SPM here, the 46 spore crawlers, meanwhile, a whole bunch of Hydra Link. How many have died? 16 spines, 6 spores. A whole, we've got the entire variety pack demo reel of Protoss units over here. Do we have one of every Protoss unit yet? Immortal has been... I don't see a Phoenix or a Tempest on there. I'm actually kind of surprised we don't see any Tempest. Hey, boys. Good luck out there. Nice to meet you. Oh! You ever had so many Templar you're storming changelings? Let's hope it never comes to that. Now some Banelings being built. Oh! Get up! Oh! Get over here! The Vikings? No, wait, what? Not Vikings. Vipers. Yes, Vipers. Abduct the mothership. Do not successfully bring it all the way back, but... Wait, do we have Microbial Shroud researched? I mean, come on. If there were ever a time. Does it affect buildings? Does anyone... Somebody bring up the tooltip. Scarlett, research Microbial Shroud. It's not like you don't have the money. I don't even know. Do we have the icon? I don't think so. If it affected buildings, I think it'd be worth it. Yeah, take those water balloons to the face, drones. Get wrecked. That Templar has a long journey ahead of it. Oh. Or a very short one. Oh, fungals on the interceptors. Spine crawlers killing Templar. It's real life. Parting is going for it. That storm is a little maybe off the mark. Meanwhile, a whole bunch of zealots, though. There's not enough to stop this. The Zerglings will clean this up. A few Banelings in the mix as well. Scarlett is kind of hurting for minerals. Parting's hurting for everything. I feel like Tempest should have been invested in a while ago. Because Tempest at least don't have to cost you money every time you fire some shots. Are there any oracles? There's one for Revelation. Can you spot the oracle? Well, okay, it's not that hard. It's right there. Meanwhile... How you doing, bro? Billy, shut up! They don't talk, remember? So the Death Ball. The Golden Armada. Oh, the Mama Ship! There's a time warp! Down she goes! A few Archons involved. And... Interceptors, Neuroparasite on the Archon, Storm, Abduct! There's some spores! Feedback, Storms all over the Broodlings! Where's the rest of the army? Storms on the Corruptors, killing the Broodlords, Neuroparasite on some of the carriers. It looks like Scarlett, well, the Broodlords are dying. He's sacrificing carriers for broods, which I don't know if that's an incredible long-term option. Parting getting wiped here, I think. Right? Yes. He's building more carriers, so it seems like he didn't want to lose the carriers. Neuroparasite grabbing what, like... He does cancel the carriers. He's back, and now we're fighting with those low-cost units again. I don't know what Parting expected, but 10 more Broodlords are in the mail. The whole Zerg swarm's real angry about what just happened. Where did you think the Zerglings went? more lurkers were built. I don't know. Parting still has a lot of income for this stage of the game, but if he loses this center base, it gets a lot more fragile here. Is there a revelation? Yes, there is. There are infestors underneath that got tagged and bagged. Meanwhile, shield batteries, the real MVPs. Some, like Scarlett, not quite breaking through. There are a couple lurkers underneath. The Corruptor's trying to get some work in. The lurkers are revealed. They will be killed. There's Fluxbane's foot. Hey, boys, stop talking, Billy. Meanwhile, the Void Rays are on all this. There's some Hydras at the back. Hydra's a great counter. Once again, Parting gets real ambitious on how much damage he can get done. He has to tap it out. And after 33 minutes, Parting once again bites off more than he can chew, and Scarlett takes a 2-1 lead. All right, and it is match point, which means Jimmy says you gotta learn from the best. It's time to run an ad, okay? I know people don't like ads, but that's how you make money as a tournament, right? You got to bring in that revenue. And with that, I'll be right back. If you could pause and block, that'd be awesome. Thank you for watching. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Winter, and I'm here to tell you all about the Electronic Sports League, the ESL Open Cups. Every Sunday, if you go to play.eslgaming.com, you can sign up for your very own ESL Open Cup. Technically, you could participate in all three, and many of these pro players decide to do so. Whether it's Europe, whether it's Asia, whether it's Americas, you can participate every Sunday in the ESL Open Cup for a chance at some money to get beat down by players like Scarlett and Parting, and also potentially some ESL points, which contribute to qualifying for ESL Pro Tour events. Find out more at play.eslgaming.com. And if you're still watching and haven't skipped past, make sure to like and subscribe, because that unlocks the description where instead of having to type all that fancy stuff in, you can open a link in a new tab or new browser or whatever window, something else on your other smart refrigerator. Play.eslgaming.com. And also check out the schedule for all the upcoming tournaments. Also, if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe with Twitch Prime. It's so easy. All you have to do is know your parents' Amazon Prime password, connect it with Twitch, bada bing, bada boom, there you go, Twitch Prime. Subscribe today. Now, very important. Not only should you leave comments about how exciting these matches are, but make sure to make inane comments about Malice, so that way people can reply and go back and forth in YouTube comments a couple dozen times and drive up engagement on my videos. Thank you for watching, good luck, and have fun. Thank you guys for sticking around. I know ads are annoying, but we esports. We're back. Jimmy, we're back. Met. Oh my god, she's doing it again. She's doing it again. Why? Who told her? In the top left, the Canadian Zerg up 2-1. It's Scarlett. A 12 pool on the way. And in the bottom right, from the Clown Clan with the Clown Plans, the big boy himself. Parting. A little bit of an earlier scout than game one. Scarlett game pooled. 12? Okay. 12 pooled in game one. To great success, leading to an uncomfortable situation for Parting for sure. This time, not going to be quite as unexpected. I wonder if Scarlett will throw out the GLHF right as it's scouted. Oh, the drone! Trying to slip by. Oh! No. Stop right there, drone. I know what you're up to. The probe patrol will put down that attempt. And here comes some Zerglings. Down goes the probe. But delaying the hatch for a bit, scouting the fact that it's, well, an interest of Scarlett's to get the hatch is important. That implies that there's very likely not going to be gas, and this isn't some sort of Ling Bane all-in or Zergling speed. Nope, it's just a bunch of Zerglings trying to get into your base. A good old-fashioned Zerg rush from Scarlett, trying to finish this series just like she started it. Three probes, one's up. Whoa. Mineral walk, mineral walk. We've already seen teleporting probes. I wouldn't put anything past Parting at this point. So this isn't so much about the damage dealt right now, especially when it's scouted this early. It's about the situation we're now left in. There are two Zealots, a later Nexus. Parting can't do whatever sort of tech play he was looking or hoping to do early on. He has to decide, do I actually try to do counter damage to a Zerg player who I know probably isn't going to have Zergling speed or a bunch of queens or defenses? But if I do commit to that one, Scarlett's going to scout it, because this Overlord is looking in a very uncomfortable way down on these gateways. You can see him building. There's a very... And you can see what comes out of him. Scarlett knows all. Yeah, the Overlord's spotting for it. So if you do invest in that big attack earlier or a counterattack, then there's a good chance it gets shut down. But if you don't, then there's a chance Scarlett gets an overwhelming economy. So this is just Scarlett limiting Parting's options and trying to take control of the game in that way. I don't think Parting's going to be too worried about that. He's not a player who is easily tilted. Or even if he is, he tilts so far, we just get into some... Like, last game was Parting, it felt like he was kind of tilted. Like, well, these Blink Stalkers aren't working, so how about we try Blink Stalkers? And Scarlett just rolled with it for like 35 minutes. The Adepts will shade all the way into the main, getting some confirmation that, indeed, there is no Zergling speed, and there's an investment economy. Down goes one Adept, so that... Yeah, well... Yeah, that didn't go great. It's not really what you're looking for early on. You don't want to lose both. For not free, but for cheap. There is Adept Glaives, Resonating Glaives in production, but it feels a little on the later side of things, especially when you lose those first two Adepts for minimal cost. Scarlett already getting a lair. Roach Warren on the way. Zergling speed gonna complete. The one thing Parting does have is a solid probe count here. And I don't know if he noticed, but Scarlett does not have a third. Which is relevant to us as observers trying to pretend to know how to play, but also would be super relevant to Parting when he has to decide whether or not he's attacking in. This could just be a Roach speed, not so much all in, but definitely timing. Yeah, Roach speed on the way. The duel. The Zealot survives. So Parting is heading directly towards a brick wall right now. A brick wall of Roaches. He's got a whole lot of Adepts, but Scarlett should have scouted... Wait, was she morphing the Overseer at the worst possible time? I think she saw it. If the Overseer was morphing... No, Roaches are constantly in production. At this point, you know. There's plenty of Roaches. The third base just started, so that creates a really awkward scenario where Parting's very likely going to cancel it. So... now we're in kind of a reverse scenario where Parting, all he has to do, delay the third. And Scarlett's now going to be on the clock to counterattack. Because Parting's going to have a third himself. In fact, a bunch of Tickle Bubbles and some Stalkers are going to make sure that Scarlett doesn't see it. Shades through with a handful of Adepts, or maybe those... Oh, wow! both bases simultaneously. Some Meeb-like micro. Well, not doing incredible, but 11 drones. That is critical economic damage against a player who has more bases than you, who has more workers than you. Well, now Scarlett has to go try to kill Parting. At the very least, Parting can no longer be allowed to have a third. Scarlett needed to already be out on the map. Every second count. Scarlett's just kind of sitting back. You gotta go. Like, this is not a macro game. I don't think she realizes, well, obviously she hasn't seen it, but she's not considering that Parting could just have a third. And, the window, now that the first Immortal is out, the sentries are building energy. At this point, now there's been enough Orphans, I think the opportunity, Billy and the boys heading out, but I think the opportunity to do any damage to the third has passed now. One changeling going to be intercepted, the second changeling not spotted. Scarlett not going to be happy to see a third base is already complete. Gonna retreat to the same thing as last time, which is lurkers. Problem here is the blank stalker timing is way more dangerous against a player who had to catch up economically. 11 stalkers against no zerglings, no ravagers, no lurkers. And is there a prism? Of course there's a prism. Not to mention 7 sentries with varying amounts of energy. This is going to be a tough hold for Scarlett. Especially holding without losing drones or a base. Do they have +1? They do not. I guess the one redeeming factor here is the lack of +1. Are there any Ravagers? There are Ravagers now. Force fields, a real factor here. Line of force fields cuts off the Ravagers. Drones already pre-pulled. Are there enough Hydras? Another wave of force fields closes in. A few more. Ravagers popping up corrosive bile. The Roach Hydra Ravager is pretty cost-effective against Blink Stalkers. And so far... oh, the Immortal dies. Deja vu. Looking a lot like last game, but a lot more Stalkers as well. Parting gonna brawl it out with the Blinks. Roach Ravager against Hydra... well, against just Blink Stalkers. And Parting might have the army he needs. That is a lot of Blink Stalkers, enough to target down units, enough to threaten the base. More Stalkers being warped in. The economy to keep doing it. Parting's specialty here. Oh, Blink's over the top! The lugs all over Scarlett's army! But is that a mistake? Some Zealots at the front isn't enough? No more Hydras, a single lurker. Is there detection? I believe there's an observer, but it's not in the fray yet. Some drones went down with this. Maybe a little ambitious with the blink over, but with no more Hydras, there's not the increased damage output that Scarlett needs to hold this position. The Observer, it doesn't see the Lurker. It needs to move a little bit further forward. It will. That Lurker is the only thing keeping Scarlett from death here. Oh, the Lurker not being targeted, adding some damage on. The struggle continues back and forth. The continued warp-ins from Parting. Scarlett needs a better, more cost-effective army here. The Lurker not being targeted with the first volley. A lot of damage coming out on the Parting Stalkers. But enough? I don't think so. Parting continues forward. More army is in the mail for Scarlett, but it needs to be delivered first. Hydra's on the way. Ravager's at the back. The Blink Stalker's starting to become more and more effective. Oh, the target fire! Are there any lurkers? No, the Queen's gonna eat some shots. Scarlett maintaining a supply lead, but Parting continues to warp in. The Blink Stalkers keep cooling down. There's just enough economy for Scarlett to maintain this position. The base itself, the third hatchery, so important. It's only a couple volleys from death. Oh, the Hydra's trying their best. +2 attack is on the way. Scarlett continuing forward. Blinking back towards the prism. Reinforcing Stalkers coming up. There are no transfuses. More reinforcements. There's a single lurker building. Are there enough Stalkers to push through? The Hydra count is too damn high. And Scarlett looks like just barely going to hold. What year is it? Another lurker comes up. Rarely does one lurker decide a game. And this is another game that won't be, because that one lurker is dead. The creep is taken out. More lurkers are needed. Scarlett closing in on +2 ranged attack. Only Hydra range, no Hydra speed, so they really suffer off a creep. Parting isn't ready to give this up quite yet. Oh, the Observer, so important. Scarlett desperately wants lurkers. Oh, the lurkers are building! You gotta protect the lurkers! One lurker egg taken out. It's just Mass Stalker out of Parting. He's gonna continue forward. Roaches and Hydras. The lurker's done. There's another Observer. The base is 1 or 2 volleys from death. Oh, the base will be targeted. Scarlett needs to make it worth it. That means no more, well, no more real economy or serious production. That was helping to pump out the Zerglings, especially. The Zerglings for buffer. Parting now going to rely on the blinks. That base needs to be retaken, but at what cost? The Roach Hydra struggling off a creep. Scarlett has a hive. Didn't kill the lurker. More lurkers are going to finish. Transfuse saves the day. Another lurker. That one targeted down right as it finished, so don't get that return on investment. Where did this hive come from? But lurker range is on the way. Parting says, you know what? How about 10 more Blink Stalkers? Or 8 more Blink Stalkers? There are 8 warp gates here. Scarlett desperately trying to hold. Parting is taking a 4th Nexus now. Scarlett struggling to maintain the economy. She's got +2 done. That single lurker in the back, lurker range going to help out a lot when it comes to the Blink Stalkers coming in. A badly bruised Observer. The Observer will die. And with that vision, it does. It's just Stalkers. Parting has decided his tactic, and he's leaning on it. The ranged lurker, more lurkers on the way. Scarlett has reestablished the base, but you can see the economic difference. The supplies are even now. Parting has caught up, but his entire supply is in Stalkers. 32 Stalkers, that's it. Everybody, just simmer, just calm down. Everybody, just calm down. Boring game. The creep spread being cut down, but breathing room for Scarlett is super important. 4th base has been taken, but you get enough lurkers and eventually the gateway units will no longer cut it. That lurker range. Oh, and the damage with +2 as well. Parting no longer can really engage this. He's trying to look for other options. It's going to be disruptors and charge lots. He's sitting on the very... Oh my god. He really doesn't like his Stalkers anymore. Hey boys, what you doing over there? I don't know. Changeling taken out. Will the Stalker... No, they won't be baited significantly out of position. More lurkers on the way. 5 lurkers done. 4 more in production. Gotta be careful. Once Adaptive Talons is done... Oh, they dodged that shot with the burrow. Once Adaptive Talons is done, they dunk their faces into the ground and scuttle across it so fast. Not in that order. All lurkers need is burrow move. Parting has finished +1. Charge lots... Scarlett's still in a tenuous position with less supply, with not too many drones. This 4th base is very important to keep alive, but also fragile. There's not any real static defense. It's already been badly bruised by the Zealots. And a lot of the Stalkers are pumping it. Blinding Cloud. Oh, wow. Surprised that Scarlett didn't pop a Blinding Cloud on that. What is happening? What? Are you... What? Do we live in a world where abducting Stalkers is worth it? I don't know. I don't know what Scarlett's reality is, but... Some very ambitious roaches, and oh my god, disruptors! The danger balls have arrived. We need to abduct the disruptors! Oh, run away! Double kill. 2 disruptor shots, and another round of lurkers is down for the count. Bad bruises there. Gets 1 disruptor. Needs more. There's still 1 shot. The shot is fired. Curveball into the center mass. Now, he is trading out the disruptors here to mild success. +3 attack is on the way. Like, Parting doesn't have such an overwhelming economy or army that he can just afford to lose disruptors after firing one shot. They're no swarm hosts. Speaking of swarm hosts, by the way, there's still a couple disruptors in the back line. Shots fired. Oh my god. Oh my god. Massive hit. Scarlett's committing everything, but it was already so... The first disruptors did so much. Is there detection? Oh, here comes an observer a little late to the party. Scarlett trying to hold, but the first two disruptor shots, more than enough. After all that time, carefully babysitting these beautiful, fragile lurkers. Oh, you ever seen a sieged up observer be abducted? Well, now you have. After all that time, she just YOLOs it. Oh, there's another shot. Oh no, that's a game winner. Or is it? It's unclear. How is it still unclear? It is clear. Parting takes it. Scarlett dragging herself out of a terrible spot and then jumping off a cliff into disruptor shots. Everyone's made that mistake before. Like I was talking about in the first game. When you watch these players, you don't know what you're going to get. You're going to get some of the most exciting plays and builds. And also... I mean, what a game. One of the most... Obviously, they're battling for 6-7 minutes in a row. It's very hard. The battle fatigue. Okay. Battle fatigue. Scarlett was doing so well right up until she wasn't. It felt like Parting was getting less and less with each engage. He kept trying to dive on the lurkers and just outright win with the blink stalkers, but the disruptors saved the day. A highlight montage worthy set of disruptor shots, and wow, down they go. Does he cannon rush again? A hatch first for the second time this series. I believe Game 2 was also a hatch first. But thank you guys for tuning in for the finals of the ESL Open Cup North America 3, or America's 3. Thank you to ESL for providing these games for me to watch, even if they're not perfectly live. And now you see some of the benefits of catching them after the fact. As fun as it is to watch variously and increasingly more Eastern European casters lag out of the game, sometimes it's better to just move on with our lives. For those who don't know, Belair, a great caster, I assume. He speaks German and also lags out about 3% of the time. Yeah, it's not the Prince of Bel. Well, he may be the Prince of Bel Air TV. So, was ist das? Parting, don't you dare make a Stargate. Don't you say, we've come all this time. He's not making a Stargate. He's making Warp Gate. Okay, I take it all back. But we're not going to go 4 games without a Stargate opener and then be like, you know what? This is how we're supposed... Thank you, Parting. Either way. Either way this ends, we will go an entire, long-winded, exciting Protoss versus Zerg series without a boring one-gate expand Stargate opener. There's actually things for me to talk about that now I'm going to spend all the time I would usually spend talking about things to talk about how I have time to talk about things, and it's going to be real meta and annoying, but Instead of talking about how a Stargate can transition into Phoenix or Oracle and get a third, and then your tech, and why are you losing probes to things? Instead of that, finally, the Adept tried to get in, didn't get anything for it, almost died. We can go a whole series without me feeling like a broken record and zoning out for the first 4 minutes. It's Glaive Adepts again. He's been leaning on him. This is like worst case scenario for Glaive Adepts. One, you're investing in Glaive Adepts. So, unfortunately for Parting, this is the perfect time to go for a Stargate because your opponent is doing a Roachling all-in. And this is part of the reason why we go for a Stargate is because Roachling all-ins are very dangerous. Oh, Parting's gonna be unhappy about this, and Scarlett has masked it so well. Oh no. All these games have been so close, but this is a disaster. Oh, there's nothing. And that Scarlett just comes in, knocks open the door, says, "Look who's home! It's Roaches, Lings, and Ravagers," and there's nothing to answer. What are you gonna micro Adepts? No. I don't even know if Glaives are gonna finish. Warp Gate is complete, but at what cost? Scarlett is breaking through 23 drones to her name, but that's all she needs. There's no production. The pylon descended from Artosis will be destroyed, and with it, all of the protons. GG, congrats. Scarlett picks up her second ESL Open victory, joining Hero Marine as the only players to pick up more than one so far. Scarlett with the decisive Ravager Ling all-in to end things. How do you feel? Was Scarlett just showing good games for the fans? What about Parting only building Blinkstalkers? How about not opening Stargate? What do you think? Leave your comments, like, and subscribe. And of course, this is going to end up on YouTube. If you know me and you know YouTube, there are two things that are going to happen. One, I'm going to come up with a clever clickbait title, but also, very importantly, put Scarlett versus Parting in the name, because it's Scarlett versus Parting. What a great series. Two, I'm going to try to do it before Loco uploads it, because when Loco uploads it, people are like, well, Loco already casted it, despite the fact Loco also cast it from the same amazing replays that ESL provided. So if you liked my coverage, make sure to check out play.eslgaming.com. Make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to complain on Loco's video and anyone else's that Winter casted it first, no matter how accurate that might be. Congratulations to Scarlett, and Parting also gets a prize and some ESL points, just not nearly as much. Thank you for watching. Good luck, and have fun.